Hey everyone, and welcome to the ATA podcast. I'm Matt Baird.
And I'm Andie Ho. This podcast is brought to you by the American Translators Association. Each month, we bring you news and insights from ATA. We look at what's happening across the association, explore the benefits of membership, and discuss the translation and interpreting professions.
That's right. You know, the T&I industry is always changing, and we hope this podcast will help you keep up with it. ATA was founded over 60 years ago to advance the translation and interpreting professions and foster the professional development of individual translators and interpreters. We have nearly 9,000 members in more than 100 countries.
If you'd like to know more about ATA, we'll have some information for you at the end of the show. And you'll also find links in the notes.
All right, let's get started with a few quick announcements.
Did you know? Your ATA membership comes with access to the ATA Chronicle, ATA's flagship publication since 1972. Read by more than 10,000 people in 100 countries, the ATA Chronicle provides in-depth articles covering vital aspects of the translation and interpreting industry. In the May-June 2023 issue, you'll find articles on everything from keyword localization in SEO to honing your LinkedIn profile to using ChatGPT to help you with terminology extraction. You can read the Chronicle online, on your mobile device, or in hard copy. You can even share your unique knowledge and experience by writing an article of your own. Check the show notes to find out how. The ATA is giving you a chance to win $500. All you have to do is refer 5 friends to join ATA by September 30th, and you'll be entered to win a $500 Visa gift card. Make sure the applicants put your name in the appropriate place in the application so you get credit. Deadline for entry is September 30th, 2023. Did you miss ATA's virtual conference on translating and interpreting the future? Don't worry, you can purchase the recording on ATA's website. Topics include AI and ChatGPT, finding value in human translation and interpreting, machine translation post-editing, translation memory and machine translation tools, and a discussion of the future of the T&I industry. Check the show notes for the link to purchase the recording. I'm here with Madalena Sánchez Zampaulo and Veronika Demichelis. Madalena is the president of the ATA, as well as a Spanish to English and certified Portuguese to English translator. She has more than 15 years of experience in the language professions. Madalena is known for helping freelance translators and interpreters improve their online presence by refining their professional profiles to attract their ideal clients while collectively evaluating and promoting our professions. She's also the author of the Online Presence Roadmap, a practical guide to confident online marketing for translators and interpreters. Veronika is president-elect of the ATA and a certified English to Russian translator. She is chair of the Governance and Communications Committee and conference organizer for ATA 64. Veronika specializes in translation and localization for business, marketing, and education. She also teaches translation and localization at Houston Community College and co-hosts the Smart Habits for Translators podcast. Welcome, Madalena and Veronika.
Thank you for having us. It's fun to do these every year. Well, I guess it hasn't been every year, but it has been. I've done this 2 or 3 times, and it's been really nice to kind of take a look back and see all the stuff that's going on in ATA and then think about the future.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Andie.
Great. So yeah, welcome back, Madalena. Welcome, Veronika. As Madalena said, we are doing a halftime show. We try to do these annually, but we missed the show last year, so we're catching up a little bit. Last time we did this, Madalena was working on organizing the infamous Minneapolis conference, the first conference back after COVID. So that was in 2021. Just to catch up briefly, how have things been going since the pandemic has sort of tapered off?
Yeah, things have been going very well overall. We have a very large and active group of volunteers in ATA, as you both know, and we're offering more benefits than we ever have before to our members. Our membership retention rate is still going strong at more than 80%, which in the association world, that is the benchmark that you try to hit is at least 80%. We want to keep it above that, as always. And our advocacy efforts are also in high swing. Like they've really ramped up over the past few years. The advocacy committee has been working very hard to stay abreast of issues that affect translators and interpreters throughout the United States, both it's at the state level and federally. And they're truly, I think, to be commended, this group, for all of their efforts and their time that they put in, which I have to say, it is constant. I am copied on their emails, and it is, I can't even count how many per day go by with this group that they are working on something, very important issues in many states and federally. And so even if a lot of their work is behind the scenes, they are a group that is very dynamic, and they are really doing some solid work for translators and interpreters in our profession, in our country, I should say, because this is based, in the United States. The work that they're doing, of course, we do see some international, advocacy efforts as well, but the majority of it is here in the United States. And I'm really proud of the work that they've done over the past few years, especially during my term. There's been a lot going on. So if you're interested in what the Advocacy Committee is doing, you can find out more about them if you go to the website and search under News and Advocacy and Outreach. And then finally, I know this is something that I think Veronika is going to touch on, but our online offerings have expanded, obviously since the pandemic, for sure. We have more networking, member events, professional development, and than we've ever had, online now. And we also recently had the ATA virtual conference in was it in May? I believe it was in May, right? Yeah. And that these things, make it easier than ever for us to stay connected with one another and to continue to enjoy community within ATA, between the time that we get to see each other every year. So there's always a lot going on.
Now, one of the big pieces of news was also some big changes at ATA headquarters. We now have Kelly Baxter, who has replaced Mooch as executive director. What else is going on over at HQ?
Yeah. So yes, you're right. Kelly came on after the conference in Los Angeles last year as our new executive director, our new ED, as we call her. And she's been doing a wonderful job. She has been working very hard behind the scenes, bringing on more staff members to help us really enhance what we do in ATA, all of our programs, making them stronger, as well as, building up a team of staff members who are in place to make the experience for all members even better. So both our individual members and language companies who are ATA members. We work hard as volunteers, but the work that we do could not be completely fulfilled without the staff at ATA headquarters. So I want to thank them especially for the work that they do every day and the many, many long hours they put in as well. So if you do have a moment to, anytime you interact with our staff, if you would thank them for, not you two necessarily, but anybody listening, thank them for the time that they put into the programs that we offer in ATA, because they make it possible. But what else is going on? We also have the new association management software, or AMS as it's called, which will be launched most likely this fall. We're supposed to have it launched this summer, but there are a few things not quite ready yet that they're working on, including the language services directory, the public facing directory. We're working on some additional details with that are going to make it more dynamic than it currently is. And also, this software is just going to make it possible for our programs and accounting to run more seamlessly, and for us to just stay better connected with one another within ATA. So once it's up and running, you're going to probably see that the member center is even more enhanced, including, like I said, updating your public directory profile and being able to see things like your CE points earned and various things that in the past you might have had to go looking for. You'll be able to see more of that sort of on a dashboard of sorts. And I'm really excited about that. It's something that we've needed for many, many years. And it's just, it's the way of the present and the future, if you will.
You mentioned members. I know the ATA board has been concerned about membership numbers in recent years. So what is ATA doing to retain current members and also attract new ones?
Well, I will say that this is not just the ATA issue. all associations have been struggling with this, especially for the past few years. And many of our chapters report similar situations as well. As Madalena mentioned, overall, our retention rate is good, but there's a lot more we could be doing and are trying to do to retain members and attract new ones. Madalena has already mentioned a few things that ATA has been doing lately, but I'll be glad to share more. And honestly, we could do an entire podcast just on that because we have so many talented volunteers that help run ATA committees and programs that really help with that. We are getting to know our members better. We did a membership survey recently, so we're now reviewing that data and learning more about our members so we can see how we can support them better. Our divisions are also doing regular surveys to see how their members are feeling about the ATA members' benefits and resources. So again, that data helps us understand their needs and preferences. The membership committee has been busy with projects aimed at supporting our members and recruiting new members together with the chapters committee, the business practices education committee, and other groups. Also, the membership committee has been organizing very popular member benefit meetups where members can learn what's new on ATA, how to access various member benefits and resources. And that definitely helps. The more visible and accessible these member benefits are, the more engaged members are, and the more they see how, what resources we have for them to get their professional development, future-proof their career, get involved in the life of the association, because that helps as well with retention. We also held our first ever committee open house, which was a virtual event where members could learn more about various ATA committees and how they can lend their talents as members of those committees. That's an important factor as well in membership retention, giving members opportunities to grow professionally in that capacity as well and help the association and our professions. Some more highlights. Our business practices education committee have been organizing virtual brainstorm networking events, which are really popular. They're a fun interactive opportunity for members to discuss common business challenges and find solutions. We have a lot of publications for members such as Savvy Newcomer, Next Level blog. We have our mentoring and mastermind programs that have been growing and been really popular. Madalena already mentioned the important work our advocacy committee is doing. That's a member benefit as well. And our professional development committee has been expanding and improving our online continuing professional development offerings, which we'll talk about later on. There are lots of great opportunities for members to grow professionally and develop their skills, and for non-members to see what ATA has to offer, and hopefully that will encourage them to join. Our peer committee has been working really hard spreading the word about the importance and value of our profession, and they have revived the Compass blog that helps educate potential clients and the general public, and it's just a fantastic resource for our members to share with their clients. Our divisions have been actively engaging their members and attracting new ones and organizing a ton of networking and educational events for division members. And last but not least, the ATA board has approved a pilot program that is running through the end of this year, 2023, to create special interest groups. We call them SIGs. These are groups within ATA where members with similar languages, areas of specialization, or services can meet and interact with each other. They're meant to serve as a professional home for members who don't have enough signatures to start an ATA division, or an incubator for groups that are working towards establishing a division. So we currently have 3 special interest groups: the Southeast Asian Languages Special Interest Group, the Financial Translation Special Interest Group, and the Interpreters and Translators in Education Special Interest Group. So that's really a glimpse of what we are doing to retain our members and attract new ones, and hopefully our members see that and see that they have a lot of opportunities within ATA to learn, to grow, to get engaged and contribute to the profession.
Phew, that is a lot. I became an ATA member in 2004 for the first time, and this stuff did not exist. So watching the association grow over time and develop all these programs is just phenomenal.
And it's all thanks to our volunteers.
And then, so that's a broad view, but then specifically I've noticed just in terms of continuing professional development, there's been a ton of offerings. with new stuff just this year even. Can you talk to us about that as well?
Right. Yeah, we really have something for everyone when it comes to continuing professional development. That program has grown a lot over the past few years, and last year specifically. We have webinars and workshops every month, many of them. They really range from what we call regular webinars, on different topics and translation and interpreting that are maybe, 60 to 90 minutes long, to monthly Back to Business Basics webinars that are free for members and that non-members can purchase recordings of later on. We have our new format that we call ATA Tech Talks, that are webinars we do in collaboration with the ATA Language Technology Division, where our members can learn about new tools and technology and how they could utilize them in their business. We have our virtual conference that was held in the spring, in May, on the topic of machine translation and artificial intelligence. And if you missed that, we do have the recordings available for purchase on our website. And of course, our divisions to organize many continuing professional development opportunities for their members. But I would really like to thank our professional development committee for all their hard work. They put on several events per month, both webinars and virtual workshops that are more interactive and hands-on, and that's a lot of work. So huge thanks to them and to our staff for making it happen.
You mentioned a membership survey that the ATA conducted earlier this year. What is the status of that, and what does ATA intend to do with that information?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we try to conduct a membership survey every couple of years or so. I think it's our tendency has been like once every 3 years, but I want to say we should be doing this maybe every other year. And so this year, the membership committee revamped the survey quite a bit, and wanted to know two things. One, who are our members? And two, what do they enjoy about being an ATA member, and where could we make improvements, right? So the status is that it's been completed. We've conducted the membership survey. We were really pleased how many people took the survey and the number of responses that came in with really in-depth answers on some of the open-ended questions, or where people could fill in, more than just yes or no types of responses. And the membership committee has been hard at work culling the responses, replying to many of the members about specific items where maybe they marked that they would like somebody to reach out to them, and basically seeing where we can make improvements in ATA to enhance a member's experience further. So that could be something along the lines of contacting other committees where, certain recommendations or questions came up. Maybe it's about certification, maybe it's about public relations, or maybe it's about advocacy, and making sure that those committees are aware of what members are asking for. And then one area that we purposely included in the survey this year was related to diversity and inclusion. If you took the survey, you probably saw many questions related to this. And the reason for that is that so we can see, ATA leadership can see who are our members, so that we can remain an inclusive association, and that our offering, and make sure that our offerings and our leadership are representative, of our membership. I personally feel that we will have quite a bit more information coming from the survey responses as we continue to go through them, including consulting with a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant to see where we can be more inclusive in certain areas of ATA and offer the best experience, because we have a very, very diverse membership, and we want to make sure that everybody feels both seen and heard and included in any capacity in any program that we offer. So stay tuned for more. I know that's sort of a vague answer in many ways, because a lot of people are looking for concrete steps, but we're still in the process of putting those steps together.
So Veronika, I know you are in the midst of organizing ATA 64 in Miami, which, for listeners, a reminder, it's October 25th through 28th this year. Looking at the program, I noticed a lot of new and interesting things. Can you tell us about those?
Right, absolutely. I'm very excited about that. And I hope that both our new attendees and our experienced conference attendees will find it exciting as well. For those who know and love ATA annual conferences, there will be a lot of our, regular tried and true things on the program as well, but we are trying some new things as well. So you'll see that we have new session tracks this year. We have updated and revamped them. So we'll have some new session tracks, such as book and literary translation, the business of translation and interpreting, conference interpreting, diversity, equity, and inclusion in translation and interpreting, translation and interpreting in education, localization, languages of limited diffusion, translation and interpreting for the business sector, and many others. So really happy to see that there were lots of great proposals in all of these new session tracks as well. We also are trying out a few different formats, different from our regular 60-minute sessions. We will have what we call ATA micro talks. These are kind of like TED Talk style sessions, 15 minutes long, where speakers will have to address a topic of interest for translators, interpreters, and language services providers in this brief format and make it really engaging and fun. We will have ATA professional forums, which will offer division members an opportunity to come together and discuss important issues that they are facing in working with a specific language combination or a field of expertise. So these will not be, regular conference presentations, but more of an interactive discussion that is led by a moderator, where participants can sit together in small groups and discuss issues and then maybe find possible solutions together. We will also have 30-minute conference presentations. So that will be an interesting format as well, because attendees will have a chance to kind of build their program, have more flexibility to build their program and maybe attend more interesting sessions than just dealing with 60-minute slots to attend. And we'll have what we call ATA committee forums, where attendees can learn about the activities of different ATA committees, what initiatives they're working on, and how they can get involved if they would like to lend their time and talents as a volunteer. If you remember the conference book fair, last year we added, we kind of extended the invitation for podcasters and bloggers to join as well, and that was very well received. So this year we're trying something new again. We're calling it the T&I Book and Resource Fair. So you can both meet colleagues who double as book authors, but also translators and interpreters who have podcast blogs or offer training courses or other resources for translators and interpreters. So that will be a slightly updated format for that event. And we have some other changes that we're making to the welcome celebration, to the closing social and more fun exhibit hall experience, updating conference badges and other things. We're also organizing a webinar on how to prepare for the conference, and that will include a question and answer session and virtual networking that will hopefully help our new conference attendees feel less alone and kind of feel less intimidated when they step into that conference hall for the first time. They will already have some friends they made online during that webinar, so stay tuned for that. And I just encourage everyone to visit the conference website to see the latest updates, the conference schedule, see the conference registration, and remember to book your hotel as well at the hotel room at the conference hotel.
I have an unofficial request from one member who remembers the last time we were in Miami. Apparently during the opening session, the Cuban sandwiches from the catering were excellent. So we would like to see those again if possible.
I'll pass that along. Yeah.
I forgot about that. They were good.
Yeah, I wasn't there, but we are planning to do kind of a taste of Miami, sampling at the welcome celebration. So we'll see what we can do.
And maybe during the coffee breaks too, possibly, right?
Right. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
The Pisco sour breaks, is that what you meant?
I don't remember what we're doing, but I know that it sounds really good. Maybe some Cuban coffee. Don't hold me to that, but I think that was one thing that came up.
One of those. Yeah.
The other big thing that's happening at the conference as well is elections, which happens at every ATA conference. Madalena, can you kind of go over the voting process, because it's not always super straightforward for everybody?
Mm-hmm. Sure, of course. Yeah, so we will have elections this year. We are voting on both directors and officers this year. If you've been a voting member for a while, you know that we vote on officers every 2 years. So this is a year where we will have a change in officers as well. So that includes the president, president-elect, secretary, and treasurer. And yes, so members will be voting online again, just as we've been doing since the 2020 annual conference. That has not changed. We're going to continue to do that. It saves time, paper is very efficient, and we can get results much faster this way. So if you're a voting member, you're going to receive a link to the ballot where you will be able to vote on the positions open for this year for officers and directors. Now, this ballot may look like it's coming from ATA. I can't remember how it looks in my inbox, but we actually use a third party to vote, and that is required by law, and I think it's the best way anyway to do these things. But it's a third-party vendor that we use for our elections, and they will be preparing this very soon and testing it, making sure that the ballot works. And so you'll see the list of candidates on there and how many you can select, including, the 4 officers that I mentioned and the positions for director, as well as any potential bylaws amendments that the board may propose go forward to the membership this year. And then soon enough, next month, we're recording this in July, so in August at the summer board meeting, the board is going to set the date of record for this year's annual election. And we do this every year at the summer meeting, so that basically it's a deadline by which people have to either become a voting member to vote in the current election, or if they choose not to. But that there's a hard deadline. It's usually about a month before the actual election takes place, and then the ballots go out after that to anybody who is a voting member. So if you're not yet a voting member, you can find out how to become one by visiting the ATA website, atanet.org. Go over to the Member Center and then the membership review process. That is something you'll want to take a look at. There's a link to this listed anywhere that you see the slate of candidates, which you can also find on the ATA website and in the ATA Chronicle online. But watch for, candidate statements are coming up. Those will be out fairly soon, I would say in the next couple of months, I believe. Maybe even next month. I forget when they come out exactly, but it's always 2 to 3 months before the election. And then are you all also going to be interviewing candidates this year for the ATA podcast? I think there will be some candidate statements verbally through the podcast as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on. It's a big year, and we'll see what our next board looks like.
So what are you two looking forward to most for the second half of this year? Madalena, I'll start with you.
So I'm looking forward to a few things. Currently thinking of next month already, because we have the summer board meeting, and we have Strategy Day the day before the summer board meeting starts. So Strategy Day is a day where the board comes together. It's more of an informal day. It's not a formal board meeting, but it's where the president-elect organizes a set of either questions or topics that we go over, and we think about the coming year, the coming 5 years, the coming 10 years of the association. And we talk about various things that affect our members, affect our professions, things that we need to think about within the association and outside of the association that will have an impact on us. And so I'm looking forward to that. That's always a really good way to set the tone for that whole meeting weekend, but also to set the tone for probably the coming year as well. Many things come out of Strategy Day. We don't make decisions during Strategy Day because it's not a board meeting, but there have been many things that have come out of Strategy Day that have been implemented in ATA and created huge improvements and benefits for our members. I'm also very much looking forward to the new AMS being launched this fall. It's been a long time coming, and it's just going to be so much better in terms of streamlining things, processes, data, the member experience, and so much more. I think it's going to do more than any of us even realize at this point. For ATA. And then of course the annual conference in Miami is going to be a big deal. It's going to be fun to be there together again. Miami's always a good time, tons of good food, lots to do, lots to see. And then the final thing I'm looking forward to is passing on the baton to Veronika at the annual conference, because I will be finished with my 9th year on the board. So I will be very happy to move forward and see what the next board does and see what the new officers do. And Veronika as president is going to be great. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I am counting down already. So yeah.
All right, Veronika, what about you?
Yeah, I second what Madalena said. For me, it's really the annual conference, though I know it will be a very busy time for me as a conference organizer, and a bittersweet moment too, because I have really enjoyed working alongside Madalena for the past 2 years. So I'm not looking forward in a way to that change, but also I'm excited to meet the new set of officers and see how our board looks like. But even just personally and professionally speaking, the annual conference is just always a highlight of the year for me. I'm so excited to see friends and colleagues take a break from the day-to-day and not think about, the projects I have to complete, but really just be there to soak it all in, to learn, to feel like I get new ideas. I feel inspired, re-energized, and kind of come back to the regular day, the regular work day and family life more refreshed and re-energized. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, great. Thank you guys for joining me today and talking to us about what's been going on in the ATA. And I look forward to seeing you guys in a few months.
Thanks, Andie.
Thank you, Andie.
All right, that's a wrap. We'd like to thank everyone who helped produce today's show.
Derek Platts mixed and edited the audio. ATA headquarters provided editorial and technical support.
If you learned anything new in today's podcast, I bet there's someone out there who would like to know it too. Don't be stingy. Tell them about the podcast. I've gotten to know so many great podcasts that way. I promise they'll thank you for it.
And if you're not an ATA member, listen up. I've been a member for over 20 years. Joining ATA literally launched my freelance career. It opened the door to a profession I knew very little about, and attending my first annual conference led to my very first freelance job.
And I joined for the first time in 2004 as a student. My first conference blew my mind. Nowadays, the demand for translators and interpreters is at an all-time high, but finding quality work isn't easy. ATA membership can make the difference. And ATA isn't just for translators and interpreters. We have teachers and professors, hospital administrators, language company owners, and technology developers, just to name a few. Companies and institutions can join too. Our membership includes language companies, universities, and government agencies.
If you'd like to know more, go to ATA's website, atanet.org. You can also check out past episodes of this podcast where we talk about the benefits of membership and what's currently happening in the association.
But before you go, please take a quick moment to give us a rating or write a review. Tell us what you like, why you listen, or about your favorite guest. Your feedback is super helpful, and reviews help other listeners find the show too.
We'd really appreciate hearing from you. Thanks again for listening, everyone. Talk to you again soon.